Hey everyone, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing wonderful. What are all of your names?
I'm Sandra.
I'm Malik.
And I'm Mike Lee.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get into our productive discussion today about the role of religion in our baseball league. So, my name's Dave. As you know, I'm the league commissioner, and I want to find the best solution for everyone here. I don't really have a specific agenda going in, and I just am here to facilitate a healthy discussion. As an ex-lawyer, I know a lot about the legal precedent and the intersection of free speech and religion as relating to the government, which isn't exactly pertinent here since we aren't the government, but it's not a bad idea to follow what they do and kind of use that to guide our discussion. I don't want to alienate anyone, so if anyone feels uncomfortable, let me know. But I also don't want to infringe on anyone's free speech rights, so I'm very open to both sides.
Well, I'm the owner of our baseball team, as you guys know. Obviously, I want to do what's best for our players, but I also really don't want us to lose our funding and a lot of the sponsorship deals that we have. And I'm worried that if we keep upsetting a lot of fans, most fans, according to a poll I did, 50% of the fans don't want to see religion in sports. So, I'm just scared that we could lose some of that fan base and some of our sponsorship deals, which is we need money as a team, and as team owner, I prioritize our team needs, but also recognize that we need funding. So I'm really open to hear what everyone has to say. I personally am agnostic, so I don't understand on the same level as you might, but I'm obviously I respect your religion, and I want to help find a solution that's beneficial for everyone. So
Thanks, Sandra. All right, I'm Malik. I am the center fielder for the Wimby Cardinals. And I personally believe in the right to free speech, specifically talking about my religion. I am Christian and I've grown up Christian. And I believe that in post-game interviews, talking with teammates, just really going about life, I feel like it's a restriction, an infringement if I'm not allowed to talk about my religious beliefs, especially seeing that I believe God has put me where I am and my successes are due to my creator. And I think it would just be leaving out a big part if I were to give that credit where it's due. I do also believe in a lot of what the Bible says about believers, striving through persecution, and although it may be hard and I may have to be bold to assert my views, I personally do believe that the Bible says I should be bold and and express those beliefs. I also have a large social media following and was recently signed with Under Armour, and Under Armour is interested in sharing my religious beliefs. So I'd just say that I think including my religion with who I am as a player is vital to me, and it seems like other programs are also wanting to include that part of me.
Thank you for that. So my name is Mike Lee. I'm the marketing director of Nike, and I myself am an atheist. So part of the problem that I see with religion and sports is it can sort of be very divisive. And at Nike, we want to maximize our profits. We don't want to alienate anyone. So we really want to sort of keep religion out of sports in this sense. I'm worried that players who use their personal platform on this sort of as an extension of the league can kind of reflect poorly on Nike as a brand. So we want to keep that away. And as a sponsor of this league, we want to say no discussion of any religious topics by any athletes.
Okay. Now that we know everyone and kind of where they stand at this point, I think maybe it's a good time to talk a little bit about Supreme Court case history in the United States, because I feel like it's relevant to our discussion today. Two of the big ones are Engel v. Vitale and Gracie v. Galloway. Engel v. Vitale found that the state cannot hold prayers in public schools even if it's not required and not tied to a particular religion. So this is pertinent to our discussion because players want to say prayers, I mean, I feel like we have kind of a pretty clear ruling in the Supreme Court about an outright prayer, but then again, this is for kids in public schools, so we are in different circumstances, but I still think it's relevant. And then another case is Gracie v. Galloway, and in that case they ruled that opening monthly town board meetings with a prayer that was like non-discriminatory and open to clergy from various faiths did not violate the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment, so it was allowing prayer into local government. So those are two very different cases with very different outcomes, or similar cases with different outcomes that we can both look at in deciding today.
Interesting. I would like to contribute that I do think the Engel versus Vital case seems to support my case or I wouldn't take it into consideration with this case because I don't think our situation is comparable to a school, and I do think watching the game is voluntary, but it's an interesting precedent to bring up.
I also agree. I think that it's significantly different because in this case, my player just wants to like appreciate their own religion and not like trying to convert anyone or like force them into like the same prayer. So I'm inclined to think that maybe with like more, like less maybe outright or just like a little bit less focused, like maybe more subtle, but that like it should still be allowed on our team, like the expression.
I think I'll also agree with them. I think you're free to express however you'd like, but Nike as a private company, we kind of want to, you're within your right, but we are also within our right to sort of withdraw our sponsorship from the league.
Well, I would say that I don't know if you'd be incentivized to withdraw if we just like shift this conversation to a financial standpoint. Just looking at Under Armour recently signing me, and they've told me when we've done some calls that they would like to incorporate my religious beliefs into their advertisements, into their campaigns, and so that would lead me to believe that Nike would feel incentivized to sign with a league that is allowing for religious expression, because I don't understand why they would have signed me if otherwise, and so it seems to be helping with their ad campaigns and their merchandise and be positive for them financially.
I will say there was some data that I read on advertising, and it was saying that usually when there is religion mentioned by any player, it can be a little harmful to the general image of the company. Now, it may be different for Under Armour. I don't know where they advertise, but that's some of the corporate data that I read.
Interesting.
How would you feel even if there was like no religious mention in like your advertisements, just like the player on their own?
Well, I think it's the association of Nike and the players, right? If they're, you can see in the outfield there's going to be Nike symbols, and then maybe that'll be in the background of a player who's making their, they're saying their thanks to God. So I think that in itself can be harmful to the brand and sort of alienate some of our our customer base. So.
But if it's like the whole team, and not our whole team is the same religion, and you sign our whole team, then it's like multi-religious acceptance and welcoming to like all fans.
Yeah.
Well, what's your experience, since you're an entrepreneur, what are you thinking this will lead to for our team financially? I know you've had a big background in building businesses, and how do you think this is impacting? What are you stressed about when I'm going to express my religion? Like, what do you foresee? Because I know you might have some insight on this.
My only fear is losing fans who feel alienated or like a little bit uncomfortable when they watch that. I feel like there's like maybe too much pressure. I know that you're like, you should be able to practice your religion, but there is a lot of like media attention and media pressure, especially since you're a very big up and coming player compared to like some of our other team who like could fly under the radar. a little bit. So obviously, like I said earlier, I want to do like what's best for the team, but I'm like also worried that you're very like big show of your religion is like could threaten our like team financials, which is why I would like to, like if Nike were to sign our team, I would want to put either a bigger emphasis on like the broad religious like variety our team has, or like not emphasize it at all, just to show like equality, to encourage like the most fans.
Yeah, and I would say it's important. I think I, as a player, would hope that the team and the team sponsors would not be sacrificing the players' freedom for authenticity and
Right.
well-being
Of course.
for financials. That just doesn't sit right with me, and I think a lot of my teammates that I'm the captain over would also agree, but I can talk with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Maybe there is a way forward where, you know, we can make some mention of it, but in an inclusive and popular way.
Yeah.
Maybe we should shift now towards free speech.
Mm-hmm.
I think you clearly have a very strong stance here, so maybe I'll let you start, Malik.
Yeah, I've thought a little bit about the free speech idea, and just thinking about, you know, those post-game interviews, my social media and everything. I would really just like to say what I'd want to say, and I think infringing on that I would have an issue with. I think especially considering I have a wife and a kid at home, and I would hate for my kid to see their dad be anything less than his true self. I would hate for him to see a representation of his dad on screen and not recognize me, because my religion is such a huge part of who I am. And I think just that being an example of authenticity in general and staying true to oneself is good for our younger audience, and I think trying to mask that. And I also think I am expecting some public backlash whenever I incorporate my religious views, but I think that should be something I personally get to deal with, and incorporate my religious beliefs into how much of that I should deal with according to what the Bible advises me to deal with, instead of having some other reigning force telling me how much backlash to take or not take.
I understand what you're saying, but I think it's also still necessary to take like a careful approach to this, because obviously like you're prepared to receive the backlash, but the backlash that you receive could affect like our whole team, because we could
That's
like
true.
lose fans and money. You know, like I know you aren't a fan of favoring financials over it, but it is important. And then also we don't want like other kids, like fans, to feel possibly alienated, which is why I said like I think, like I mentioned before, it would be nice to like highlight other religions, or just like, yeah, show a broader spectrum. But yeah.
Yeah, I would say I tend to agree with that. I think you are within your right to express yourself on this platform, but I think part of the reason that you have this platform and this position is due to sponsors and due to the league itself. So I think there's a fine line between, you know, expressing your beliefs and kind of taking it a little too far where you start to hurt the league, and then maybe you lose that platform. So I think that's definitely a big concern that we have at Nike.
That is true, and I do definitely need to recognize that I am part of a private institution, and that does come with, joining any private institution does come with losing some personal freedoms. And I think in the past, I think of religion as this thing I should always be able to use and to express in my own way, but it is also keeping that in balance with, look, you have this platform because of these other groups that you've decided to join, so it will be a balance.
Yeah, this is a really, really tough situation we're in, because we need to find an equilibrium between personal freedoms and making the right decisions for leadership, financials. There's so many aspects to this mess, but I'm glad we all got our sides out there. Maybe we should move on to how we think expressing religion will impact viewership. Me personally, I am a little worried about the viewership aspect. I think on a broad scale, America is trending towards non-religion more than anything. So I think promoting religion in our league will decrease viewership overall, but that's not entirely scientifically backed. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. So maybe if anyone else has anything to say, now's a good time.
I do think that promoting like Christianity could decrease our viewership, but I don't necessarily think that just showing your appreciation for religion could necessarily affect people. It was obvious enough that we're not trying to like push onto people, and just that like you're just like it's like your own like thing, you know, that your only thing that you like value and appreciate, that's okay. You know, obviously I care about like our financials, but I feel that regulating your freedom of speech could be overstepping. So
I would also say I think people like to see authenticity on screen, and they want to see real players and feel like they have a connection to them. So I would say I would be hesitant to say it will decrease viewership just right off the bat. I know religion does tend to kind of make people feel othered, and so I can see that, and I can see the importance of not using this platform to promote my religion, rather just express it if there's a difference between those two. But I do understand that the viewers do make us what we are, and so I have to respect them and their views.
For a Christian that like you, that must be really hard, because I know part of the Christian duty is to try and convince people to your faith too. I mean, it's to spread God's word, it's to embrace it. So in a place like this, I know it must be hard to kind of lower that standard and maybe make it more about just awareness for yourself and something that you believe in. But yeah, there's an important distinction here between imposing your beliefs and just voluntarily stating them. And I think it sounds like we kind of understand that we are leaning more towards voluntary than imposing beliefs on other people. So I'm glad we made that step in that direction.
For sure.
Is there anything else anyone wants to say before we kind of move into closing?
I think I'll say one thing. I think that as an athlete of Nike, there's also an aspect of we don't want all of our athletes to sort of be the same person. I think there's definitely value in each athlete representing their own thing and showing their personhood. I don't think any customer would really want, you know, just a bunch of talking robots and be convinced by that. So I think, yeah, as I was kind of saying earlier, there's definitely a very fine line between, you know, removing all religion entirely and kind of keeping some personhood, right? Because we still want everyone to be an individual, everyone in the league to be an individual as a Nike athlete. So it's something that we have to think about.
What are you thinking, Sandra? I don't want to overstep as captain. I think I do want to hear more about, since you know the entrepreneurship of it all. What are your thoughts?
I think that if, like, I don't want to like halt your freedom of speech. I think that, like, on a broader scale, like, if our team, if it's like publicized and like in the media that our team is like preventing you from expressing your religion, I think that that could cause us to lose more fans and like more financial sponsorship than like promoting or just showing, because I feel like we're not promoting necessarily. And I don't believe that like the way that you're promoting your religion is like too much or over the top. I think if it's like kept at this level, like more subtle, like before games or just like during interviews, like keeping questions more focused on like the game and like baseball, or, like your responses and things like that could be better. But like I don't want to like end up making it a bigger thing where we're like blocking your ability to express yourself, because I feel that from like a social standpoint that could cause our team to like lose more fans or like receive more backlash from like the public.
Got it. It's definitely hard to, what you're saying about like tampering it down, and it will be a struggle for me. I think I'll have to kind of work that out internally with how my religion fits into being able to tamper that down, but I do think I'll be able to do that, especially seeing as I have other means of expressing my religion, like my social media, my outside partnerships, and then just my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to move into some closing remarks now? before we vote on what to do?
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like I've said before, basically, I do think regulating you and what you do with your religion would be like overstepping, especially considering the court cases that like we've talked about today. I am a little bit worried about financials, but at the end of the day, I do think that if we were to like put a stopper on like your religious expression, that could harm us even more financially than what could currently come of allowing you to like express yourself in your freedom of speech. So yeah, I think that you're good.
Good to hear.
I'll say in my personal experience with Christianity as an atheist, I've been told that I needed to be saved. So I think having a brand associated with sort of these ideas can be very harmful to people. So I think I would prefer it if we made a shift to just refer to maybe some spirituality or just general human goodness instead of focusing entirely on the religious aspect of it. I think there still is a way to convey a level of faith without entirely tying it to religion.
Interesting. Okay, so I am very sorry your experience with religion has been bad. I know a lot of people have had similar experiences where religion comes across hurtful to them, which I would never hope for anyone, but it does unfortunately happen. However, I don't think I can agree to just spreading messages, generalizing the message to just human goodness or general spirituality, because for me it really is about Jesus dying on the cross for my sins, and that's why I'm here. And it really is the specificity of Christianity that I believe in, and so I don't think I can generalize. So I don't think I can agree on that front.
Okay, well, I've been hearing a lot of different perspectives, so maybe I think now it's time that we take a vote to kind of see where we're at. For the first round of voting, I'm just going to ask plain and simple if you guys would like religion to be included in these post-game interviews and allowed in the league in general. And then if that goes through, then maybe we'll set some limitations or talk about it a little bit more, but we'll see what happens with this first vote first. All right, can I just get a raise of hands, those in favor of keeping religion in interviews? Those not. Okay, thank you. So 3-1 majority. It seems like we are more in favor of keeping religion in, so let's move our discussion then in that direction. I hope that maybe you can trust that because we have the majority, it might be the best outcome here. I mean, we do respect your opinion, and yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna trust this democratic vote, and we'll further evaluate as this goes. So, you know, I'll allow it to happen, and then we'll just see in a month or now how it's going.
Okay. Is there any way we can like specifically make you feel better about this decision? Like, we could talk about maybe a time limit, no specific Bible verses, but appeal to general religion.
Yeah, I would appreciate that if Malik would be willing to do that.
I think I can definitely, to kind of help out and make this decision a little more agreeable, I think a few things I could do is maybe not just cite the Bible and maybe Bible verses, because I know some people don't subscribe to that book, and maybe just talk more about my personal experience with religion, so people, I mean, my main argument was that I want to show my true self, so then I think that's more authentic to that goal, and less so just citing a book that a lot of people disagree with. And then I think I can also, we can work with the post-game interviewers and try to keep the questions on baseball, because that really is what I'm here to play. So I think we can work with them and have fewer questions that are kind of probing to get that religious aspect out, because that might be kind of like a hot topic that people like to hear about, and ask more about games or questions specific to the game, certain plays, certain score, you know, all of that. So then, because I am here to play baseball, so keep it on that.
I'd really appreciate that. Thank you.
I really appreciate that as well. I think especially just having the interviewers focus specifically on baseball. I think that's really what the fans are here to see. So I think that would really help.
Definitely.
Sounds great, guys. I guess now we will inform interviewers to keep questions primarily related to baseball, but allow religious comments in brief. Maybe stray away from religious texts, but commenting on implications in like your life and how it affects how you play, and mention if God is still completely allowed. Yeah, I'm glad we had a productive discussion here today. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you all for being so respectful.
All right. I feel comfortable with this decision. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
And I can go tell the players,
Right.
and we can deliberate.
Perfect.
Is that?
That was definitely
That felt like forever.
That was 20